So the biggest question now facing the Packers that I think lots of people have been debating is, do the Packers have enough at wide receiver? Ever since Davante Adams left, Brian Gutekunst had to come up with some kind of plan to replace the best wide receiver in football right now. It's definitely not necessarily an easy thing to do, considering just how talented and just how dominant Davante Adams was. The Packers offense was focused on him. Aaron Rodgers even said in the past month or so that about 80% of the plays that the Packers designed on offense were designed for Davante Adams. So with Davante gone, Brian Gutekunst had to sit up there and say, okay, what are we going to do up here to try to fill the void that Davante Adams, no question, is going to leave? So now we are about 3 months removed from Davante Adams being traded, and I think we've seen a majority of Brian Gutekunst's plan for the Packers to replace Davante unravel. Maybe some more things happen before the season starts or during the season, but we've mainly seen Brian Gutekunst's decisions for how he wanted to replace Davante Adams come to pass. So the first move the Packers made to come in was sign Sammy Watkins, a 1-year, $4 million deal that is mostly based on incentives, so a pretty, I'd say, low-risk, potentially high-reward contract for Sammy Watkins that Brian Gutekunst gave him, considering if Sammy comes in, isn't productive, gets injured, the Packers don't lose much. It's only, most of his contract is based off of incentives, so he needs to come in and produce to make that $4 million. So that's, I think, a low-risk, high-reward for the Packers. A solid decision there for Sammy Watkins. Then the next 3 moves Brian Gutekunst made at wide receiver, all coming in the draft. First off, Christian Watson, trading picks 53 and 59 to draft Christian Watson at 34, which I think with the Packers willing to trade 2 of their second-round picks to move up all the way to the top of the second round shows just how much the Packers believe in Christian Watson, and I think shows that they think he has elite potential, because I don't think you come in and you trade 2 of those second-round picks, which are very valuable picks, to draft a player in Christian Watson. The Packers showed you right there that they are very confident in what Christian Watson can become. And they don't stop there. Those are the first 2 moves the Packers made. Third, coming in, drafting Romeo Doubs, 4th round wide receiver from Nevada. And this is what Brian Gutekunst had to say about him after the draft. He said he's got length, he's really fast, he's a big-time playmaker, and he's done it for multiple years in Nevada. He's probably one of the more polished players coming out of college just because of his experience. We're excited to see what he can do. So that's move number 3 at wide receiver. 4th move here, drafting wide receiver Samori Toure in the 7th round from Nebraska. So since Davante Adams was traded, the main moves, there have been 4 main moves at wide receiver. And so there's no doubt that Brian Gutekunst has come in and said, you know what, we lost Davante Adams. Okay, I'm going to come in. I'm going to sign Sammy Watkins, who hopefully can get back to his former level. And I'm going to use 3 of my draft picks on wide receivers in this 2022 NFL draft. And so I think what Brian Gutekunst has basically done here is he's taken multiple shots. There's no doubt in the first year, in 2022, not all these players are going to come in their first year and dominate. And I think because he was willing to make multiple moves from Sammy Watkins, Watson, Doubs, Samori Toure, I do think that one of those players is going to rise above the rest. Maybe it's Sammy Watkins if he can stay healthy. If Christian Watson can get on the same page as Aaron Rodgers quickly, maybe it's Christian Watson. As Goodwin said, Romeo Doubs is very polished. Maybe he could even come in and surprise people in his first season. So Brian Gutekunst has basically placed multiple bets out there, and I'm guessing at least one of those players is going to hit in 2022. So he's I think spread himself out a little bit to where he's not betting on one player to come in and dominate. He's placed his bets in multiple positions. One of those guys I say will likely come in 2022 and play at a very high level. So you add those 4 players to players who are already here in this offense with Allen Lazard, who does have that chance to be the number 1 wide receiver. With all the targets gone from Devontae and Marcus Valdes-Scantling, Allen Lazard has an immense, huge opportunity this season. And then we have Randall Cobb, who Aaron Rodgers and him, their connection is like no one else from all the years they spent together. And then we have a few other players who there's some more question marks about, but Amari Rodgers, who's apparently lost some weight, looks like he's in better shape, and now he's coming into year 2. We have a few other players in Juwan Winfrey, Malik Taylor, a couple other guys undrafted as well. So I think that when we look at this Packers room, my opinion is yes, the Packers do have enough to come in this year and dominate. If we didn't have Aaron Rodgers, I would definitely be more worried if there was some other quarterback out there who we don't know how he's going to play. But we know Aaron Rodgers is going to elevate the play of any wide receiver. And so I think that when you look at the Packers, they may not have a couple wide receivers where you're like, there's no doubt they're going to dominate. But they have enough talent out there that there is going to be 2-3 guys who I think come in 2022 and step up. Maybe it's Christian Watson, maybe it's Watkins, maybe it's Lazard, maybe it's a few of these guys who will be able to each play pretty well. Maybe there's no, like, not one dominant wide receiver like a Devontae. I don't think there's going to be. It's going to be a little bit more spread out, and Aaron Rodgers is probably going to have to spread the ball around, potentially use Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon a little bit more. But there is no doubt in my mind the Packers have enough of wide receiver to be very, very successful on offense once again in 2022. And let's say for Brian Gutekunst, if, I don't know, a month, 2 months into the season, if the Packers offense is struggling, if the receivers aren't getting it done, the Packers still have enough cap space to come in, maybe make a trade for someone, maybe come in and make some kind of big pickup at some midpoint during the season. If Brian Gutekunst looks around and says, okay, these guys aren't getting the job done, he can come in and make some kind of big move, because there's no doubt that the Packers are still in I'd say a somewhat small window to compete for a title, just because we don't know how long Aaron Rodgers is going to play. It's possible he retires after this year, maybe a couple of years, maybe 3 years. And so I think Brian Gutekunst is doing everything he can to put the Packers in the best position possible in 2022 to come in and, win a Super Bowl. There are those questions of, should the Packers come in and sign Julio, sign an Odell? Considering it hasn't happened yet, I don't know if that would happen. If I had to bet, I would say it's not likely. I'm not saying it can't happen. Maybe Brian Gutekunst, when the season gets closer, decides to sign one of those guys. I just don't see it happening. I sort of feel like he'll wait till the season starts, maybe a month in, and if things aren't going well in the offense, he can be like, okay, let's try to trade for someone. Let's trade a draft pick. Let's make a move for someone. But I do think the Packers have enough to get the job done. But I'll be curious to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. If you think the Packers have enough, if you think the Packers should make another move, let me know in the comments down below. But that is all I have for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, drop a like on this video if you guys enjoyed it. And if you want to see more Packers content, feel free to subscribe. I put up Packers content pretty much daily. So stay tuned, and I'll see you guys next time.